Hello! Welcome to Bad at Board Games. My name's Brad Blake, and I'm bad at board games, so you don't have to be. Although I won at this one, so not bad at this game. Stick around if you want to find out what my BGG rating is, the weight rating, is it right or wrong? What is the value rating? This is an older game, you can get it used. Pretty good value. Pros, cons, and all of those kinds of things. Best player count, playing it in real life or on BGA, which is the best way to play. So stick around for all those fun things. Getting right into it, we have a game from CGE back from 2011. So most of you haven't clicked on this thumb because nobody likes the old games. This is by CGE, same people who did Lost Ruins of Arnak. Good board gaming company, good prices for their games. And this was by Vlada Chavatil. Not Vlad the Impaler, but so we're happy about that. The theme, so think Taming Your Dragon-ish, although it doesn't feel like Taming Your Dragon, but you get all these cool little dungeon pet guys, these weird little pets that are going to grow and you're going to sell them and show them and stuff. So I like to think of it as Taming Your Dragon-ish adjacent. And then our mechanics. So we've got a few different things going on with this. We've got so it's bidding, but it's not like auction bidding. It's just for first turn. You're going to have and it's hidden. So you're going to have this little cover when it's time to determine who's going to go first, second, and third. You're going to take your little goblins, and put them in these caves, and the more goblins you put in the cave means you're going to go first, second, or third. So once everybody reveals it, whoever has 4 goblins is, going to go first in player order. Whoever has 3 is going to go next, 2 and 1, so forth and so on. And you can add coins to that to increase the number. So it's a nice little, I kind of like that mechanic, because then it's random, and how much are you willing to you give up your workers, because it's worker placement, to go first. So you may have 5 guys there, but those 5 guys are only going to go in one spot. So how bad do you want that first turn? And then we've got, it's worker placement. So out on the map, we've got all these different places like normal worker placement games are, and they do different things. And that's kind of normal. And then we've got hand management. So you're going to be drawing some cards, and they have different things on the other sides, and there's a bit of randomness to that. Resource management, because as you buy food, the food spoils. So you're going to you don't want to buy food at the very beginning and then not have a pet that's going to eat that, because some pets are vegetarian, some pets are meat eaters, some pets are both. So you want to make sure you use that food before it goes bad. We have random card draw, so you've got different stacks of cards that you assign, like what your pet's needs are. Are they hungry? Do they want to be played with? Ball string. Are they angry and you got to calm them down? Those things. So you're randomly drawing and randomly assigning those. Not randomly assigning them. You're going to assign them based on what you have. So those are some of the mechanics. And it's victory points, and it's those other kinds of things. But for the time, that's what is going on with the game. Player count, this is 2 to 4. It is not solo, and I would say probably best is like 3 or 4. It's playable at 2. It's absolutely playable at 2, but and they do have different sides of the board depending on if you have 2, 3, or 4 playing with it. But I would say it's more fun at 3 and 4, but I think it's very playable at 2. My opinion, that's how it goes. Time to play. This is going to be 90 to 120 minutes. Even though it's a cute game, it is not an easy game. So we'll get to that in the weight rating. But Yeah, this is all of 90 minutes. Could be 120, just depending on, like, the more players you're going to have, the longer it's going to take. Also, how many times you've played it always comes into effect. But I think in this 90-minute range is pretty good. But give it the plus 30 minutes as well, especially depending on if you're teaching or not. The turns overview. So this is played over 5 rounds. And I know some people, it's pros and cons. And I guess depending on how many people you have, it can also be played over 6 rounds. But it ends in 5. And some people like that, some people don't. I guess I could get that into pros and cons, but I kind of like that. I'm being like a strategic player and being able to plan things out. I like knowing where things are going to hit and how things are going to go. But the first thing you're going to do on your round is you're going to bid. And like I said, you're going to take your workers and place them into these different caves, and you don't have to place them all. And even if you place them here, you can bring them back and not place them out on the board. Kind of like bluffing a bit. So that's what you're doing first, and that's the hidden turn movement auction part. Not auction, but bidding to go first. And then you can place your workers out on the board. Then once you reveal all your workers, everybody's going to go in turn order depending on who has the most. You're going to place your workers out on the board, and there's no one spot that like everybody can go. So, it's I go here and you're not going to be able to go. There's a couple places that have 2 spots, but pretty much everything's just one spot. So you kind of want to make sure you're getting what you want when you want it. If somebody goes there, what are you going to pivot to, so to speak? And they call this the shopping phase. And then after that, and after you've done all the worker placement items, you're going to have potentially pets in their cages. And depending on what colors they have showing on here, you're going to draw the corresponding cards. So like this toad-looking duck guy, if he is like 4 years old, depending on how many little cards you've got, I'm going to draw a green, a red, a yellow, and a purple. And we draw all those, and you're adding that to your hand, and you're going to start out with some of these. But you're drawing those cards to then try to find out and determine what you're going to assign to that pet to see what their needs are, right? So this is where it starts to get a little bit complicated. And then after you've assigned the cards to the pet, you have to meet their needs, and then you can show them off. So there's a couple of end round phases we've got here. So there'll be random, showing them like going to 4-H or something like that. And then on turn 3, you can actually sell your pet as well. So you can kind of just think of it as at the end of the round, you're trying to show off your pet and get the judges to like it. And if you get the most points, so to speak, during that phase, you're going to get victory points. And the second person, in that judging is going to get fewer victory points. Ends up being like 7-4-2 or 6-2, depending on how many players you have. And then after you've shown them on rounds like 3, 4, and 5, you're going to be able to sell them, and that gives you more money. And the money allows you to then, potentially go first or second when you're doing the auction bidding thing. So I keep calling it auction bidding, but it is turn order, hidden turn order. And then if you have any pets at the end, you're going to age them. So got this little dial on here, and if you didn't sell your pet, it's going to go age 1. It's going to age based on the number of arrows it has on this little dial. So sometimes they age twice, other times they age once, so forth and so on. So that's kind of like, you have these 5 steps, but within that, that's where all the complexity kind of starts to hone in on. And I would say most of the complexity is with trying to assign these cards to your pet after you have them. So moving on to pros, I like the fact that this is a forward planning And if you look at some of the games that I like, there's different cards that are going to go on here. I can see what kind of creature they want to show, and I try to like hone in on turn 3. I'm going to try to really make sure I've got the best one and got all the cards and everything for that, so I can score the most victory points. And then also in that round, sell it and get the most money. So then that parlays me to maybe I skip turn 4 and I go right to turn 5. So I like being able to plan those things out. I enjoy that. Let's see, Terracotta Armies kind of like that. So a lot of those games where I can see, the randomness that was assigned during the setup. I can then, okay, how am I going to go about and work on that, right? So being able to actually see what's going on, I enjoy, versus something flips up every turn and it's always hidden. You don't know what's going on, and you're having to pivot quicker. That's the tactical thing that Taupe's much better at. I don't flourish that well in those style games. So I like the theme. Saw this, when Derek brought it over, and it was like, oh, this is cool. Gonna think this is pretty cute. Don't let the theme make you think this is a 2-weight rating. This is not. Which I like heavier games, so that wasn't a problem. But like, it's fun, it's cute, makes you laugh. You talk about, you go through and read the rules, and it's gonna make you laugh. So I like all those kinds of things about it. And then I really did enjoy this hidden turn bidding system. I'm trying to think of a game I've played that has that. I can't think of any right now, but I thoroughly enjoyed that part of it. Sometimes you don't care if you go first, other times you do. It isn't necessarily dependent on, I've got the least points, or I was last, or something kind of like Barrage and others. It's a lot of how they do those. I actually enjoyed having control over it. Do I want to go first and I'm just going to have one worker out, or if I'm going to, not worry about it and see where everybody else ends up, kind of thing. So definitely enjoyed that. And I like worker placement games. So just after you get through that and you have the worker placement, and then there's complexity after that, it's like, I go here, I get this thing. That's pretty simple. So, those first 2 steps of the game aren't hard. The complexity starts coming into the planning aspect of it, and then taking care of your pets aspect of it. Cons. So the biggest con, I think, what might get confusing a lot with people, and it confused me because it's just, you're used to colors and colors matching and everything. So you have like this green card here, and then on this side, it's really the red action. So this angry, you associate this more with they need to be calmed down, right? And the angry one is a red card. So, typically most of the red cards are going to have the angry sign on them. But all cards have, it's a statistical thing. All cards have all the different symbols on them. So I almost wish they would have made these black and white, so that I wasn't trying to associate the color and the symbol on them. It just got confusing. And, you're wanting yellow to be where you play with them. You're wanting the purple to be for the magic. And then when you draw a card and you're looking at your cards and it's, different, like here's a purple card with a red anger thing on it. And, as you're looking at those, that is, your brain just doesn't translate that, and so there's a little bit of complexity in that. And I imagine that's where some people can get hung up on. That was one of the biggest cons, so to speak, for me, that I kept kind of like, oh, my brain just wants the colors all to match. And if I see purple, it's magic. If I see red, it's anger. If I see the yellow, it's play. So that may be just a me thing, but a few of us at the table, we're still having the same problem. So, and then that kind of gets back into you may not like the randomness of the card draw. One thing I noticed is, as you go through this deck, and then everybody has kind of like matched all these up. So all the angers get put together in stacks of 3, if you don't reshuffle these well after you've gone through this deck, and you'll go through it pretty quick, even with 3 players. Like I drew 3, and I think I was trying to get, and it shows you the statistics of what the cards you'll draw. I was trying to draw yellow. Half the cards in here should have been like the ball of yarn, which is, hey, we're going to keep your pet entertained, right? I drew 3 like sick disease ones or something like that. Statistically, that shouldn't have happened. So when you reshuffle these, make sure you reshuffle them very well. But then that can kind of slow the game down. You might want to get some of the little sleeves for these to help shuffle those a little bit better. So that's a little bit of a con. Not much, but it was a nitpick. It's kind of like, statistically, that shouldn't have happened. Help me out here. But that's not a lot of cons with this game, in my opinion. CGE, you're not, because you're getting a decent price, you're not getting like double layered boards. You're not getting super thick pieces. This is the brown little cubes. That's poop. So, this is a game, you might want to just buy the little bag of upgrades, because then they look like little poop emojis, and you've got the meat looks like, little steaks, and the plants look like, a little cabbage. Kind of like buying that after the fact. So there you go. I'm doing something new here. If I'm playing this on BGA as well, how is it implemented versus sitting down and playing? I would say it's okay, but I think I have most of the time when I'm going to say on BGA it's not as great as, I like to be able to look at the whole board and look at the strategy and the different rounds ahead holistically. And it's kind of hard, and I play a lot of BGA on my iPad versus on the computer. So if you have a bigger screen and you're always playing on PC, this may not matter, but I like to be able to see the rounds that are coming up and what I can do. And I look at it, and looking at it in real life is just, I find that easier to take in that information. Gets a little clunky on BGA. I think BGA is okay, but you're not going to, if you play it on BGA, I think you'll have and kind of like it, you're probably going to like it more in person. So just keep that in mind. I think it's okay. I'm still always I prefer playing in person. Sometimes it's nice. There's definitely some games you just can't play because they're too complex, like Gaia Project and Barrage and things. I prefer playing them in person, but just being able to find people and the time to play those, it's nicer to play online. But in this case, I think, I just like being able to see everything going on. So I talked too much about that. Real life versus BGA, but BGA is there for those who want to try it. Weight rating. So on BGG, they've got a weight rating of 3.62, which is pretty high. That's what I'm saying. Like, you look at this, it's cutesy. It's like, this is no joke. Castles of Burgundy is a 3. This, I think, after you get through this whole assigning the sicknesses to the pets, and there's that randomness to it, I think that's probably why this is a heavier weight than like something like Castles of Burgundy. You've got, basic worker placement, basic, bidding to go first. That's easy. But then this whole section where you're taking care of your pets and, cleaning out the poop from the cages and assigning things, that's where it starts, the complexity kind of comes in. And then you have to be able to then, have the right combinations of things for your pets to get the points for showing them. And then they have to be in good health so that you can, sell them. And if you don't, then they're going to run away, or they could, put some of your goblins in the hospital, things like that. So there's, it's the after the worker placement part that the complexity of this really starts to kick in. So, and in Castles of Burgundy, you can kind of like, it's a Euro game. You're sitting there and you're planning and you're doing, and there's some randomness out on the board, but it's not so random. You still got the dice, but I would say 3.5. I don't think this is pushing 4s to like a Lacerda. That means people are basically half people are saying this is a 3. I think this is more than a 3. Half people are saying it's a 4. This is not a 4. So 3.5. Talked too long on that. Value rating. So brand new, you can get this on Amazon for $41 still. Kind of surprised it was that high considering the game is as old as it is. You can get it used for $25. I recommend just going and picking it up used and then going online and see if you can get a little upgrade pack. So if you're going to buy this used, I'd say this is a 4 out of 5. It's, if it was a 5, if this was $10, a 5 out of 5 is, heavier game, things like that. But $25 for this kind of game, this kind of play, 4 out of 5 all day, $40. If this were a brand new game and, we were playing it, I would probably give this still a 4 out of 5. But considering it's, 13 years old, 13 years old, something like that with the math, there's maybe other games you want to go out and spend $40-$50 on. But this game holds up. This is great, even compared to what is out there now. My BGG rating, let's see, on BGG, Board Game Geek, they're saying 7.4, and it's got 15,000 ratings. And like I said, this could have one of those like, oh, it looks cute and it's going to be easy. It's not. It is cute. It's funny. Not easy. So that may have drawn some people in that really this wasn't a game for. I would say after my plays, I'm going to stick this at an 8. I enjoy this game. I would recommend this game. Price is good. It was cute and it was fun. You're not getting double layers. You're not getting all the stuff, appearance wise, but like the art's cute. I like the little goblins. The little goblins that you're getting are cute. You can get stickers for the meeple part for your judge goblin, so to speak. I just liked all those kind of little things. So I think this is an 8. I'd happily sit down and play this with anybody if they wanted to, and I would recommend it to you. Who's this for? So I think this game is for the players that like to plan things, like to be able to see and, project, how they're going. I guess there's a lot of games like that. If you think of games I like, you can see that in Gaia Project. You can see that in Barrage, but there's Take That in Barrage. You can see that in Terracotta Army. So it's definitely a mechanic I like. Realize I'm biased towards that. So, this could be a game for you if you like those same kind of I can map my way through the game in my 5 turns. You may get kind of thwarted a bit because it's worker placement. Somebody may have gotten it before you, but, you can kind of have this plan how you're going to do it. Also, players that don't mind a little bit of randomness, because you're not going to draw what you want when you draw these cards, and how do you mitigate that? So there is some luck of the draw and randomness there. And then if you like the theme, if you like the cute dungeon pets, if you like the little goblin guys and the auction turn thing, this is if those kind of things kind of like, oh, I like those, then this is a game for you. If that is like, I don't like any of that, not a game for you. So what do you think? Comment down below, let me know. And we're at 4,000 subscribers, so thank you all for that. Trying to get out a couple videos this week. Last week just life and work and kids and all kinds of stuff going on, so we'll keep plugging away and trying to get a few videos out, and hopefully everybody enjoys them. Just remember, no matter how you play, whether it's solo, with family, or friends, enjoy whatever you are bringing to the table. Have a great night.